Hi, Sweet Pea.
Hi, Mummy Bear.
How are you?
I'm quite sad at the moment because my
Oh,
hands absolutely stink from the feed that I gave to my aubergine plants. It's homemade feed and it stinks.
and you've washed them several times, and you've
Yeah.
used my really nice face soap, which I now have to throw.
I accidentally did that. I'm very sorry about that.
So you're just going to have to stay away from everybody for a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Luckily, I can't smell you from over here.
No.
This is our good old Chit-Chat series,
Mm.
and in this episode, we're talking to Amir from Amir's Allotment.
Yeah.
He has a fantastic YouTube channel, and I'll put links to how you can access him on all the social media platforms. So he's got a YouTube channel, he's got his Instagram page, and if you're looking for a really easygoing gardening channel to watch,
Yeah.
Amir's is the one to go to. It's gentle, it's wholesome,
Makes you feel at home. Like you watch his YouTube channel and you feel like you're just part of the family.
and he's surrounded by nature. So if you want to get some lovely images of British wildlife on his allotment, it's really worth checking out. We really love watching his videos, and they're not too long, so they're little bite-sized videos.
Yep.
But it was an absolute joy to speak to Amir. We have spoken to him before. We've had some good chats in the past,
Yep.
and it was lovely to have him on our good old chit chat. And the structure of our good old chit chat is centres around a dream garden.
Yeah.
So it's what our guest's dream garden would be.
Exactly.
And what's the kind of skeleton of that?
So the
Sweet Pea?
skeleton of it, first of all, we'll ask them for their best boundary to surround the garden. Then we will ask shed or greenhouse. Then they'll have a choice of 5 ornamental plants, 5 edible plants. This can include herbs and fruit bushes or whatever. Then we will ask them for 1 tree. This will be their statement tree in the garden. And pond or pool with 1 plant in it. And finally, the last question is their favourite seating area with their lovely drink and 1 plant to go in that seating area.
And Amir really grabbed this with both hands and
Absolutely.
had lots to chat about. It was very enjoyable hearing what his favourite plants were and how his dream garden is going to be. And he has some fantastic plans for when he retires.
Yes,
And hopefully this dream garden will be part of that.
I hope so.
We had a few technical problems with the sound.
We
Hopefully
did.
we've cleared that up a bit. Amir was very patient with us.
He was such a great sport.
He's a great sport, a very, very gracious man.
Absolutely.
Just possibly the nicest man I've ever spoken to. He's invited us for dinner. We're holding him to it.
Yes.
We'll be round
Unfortunately.
with cutlery very soon.
Cutlery and plates.
Yeah.
Hello.
So I think we should get on with this episode.
Absolutely.
So this is a good old chit chat with Amir. Welcome, Amir, to good old chit chat.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
It's lovely to have you here. We're
Yeah.
really looking forward to talking to you about all things gardening, your dream garden, and anything else that comes up.
Yeah.
So we first came across you. You were obviously on Gardener's World. You had a little Your Garden slot, didn't you? And you
right.
were also in the Compilations episode, and that allowed Sweet Pea and I to do a little bit of a search on you and found Amir's Allotment, your YouTube channel.
Yes.
And then we spent many a happy hour looking at all your beautiful videos.
Yeah.
How did that all come about?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, thank you. To be honest, quite a few people that have subscribed to my YouTube channel have mentioned that that's how they first spotted me on Gardener's World. It started with I was slowly starting to video. It was a bit like a video diary, really, of my allotment progress. So it all started out doing that, and then one day I thought, well, I've got quite a bit of footage. Why don't I just put it all together and send it off to Gardener's World? And I was really surprised, really, that they emailed me back a few weeks later to say that it'll be on the show. And although looking back at the video, I should have shot it a few months later so that you could have seen more of
You had a bit
what was
more.
going on on my allotment. It was quite bare.
It was quite early in the season. I seem to remember you were quite you had a jacket on and it looked like it was quite
That's
cold
right.
out pretty
That's
early
right.
on in the year. And Monty introduced it, didn't he? And had a little comment afterwards.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. And I was just so so thrilled because yeah, I'm a massive fan of Monty Don and the show generally. I like watching all the presenters and seeing the gardens. I mean, I've been yeah, I mean, Gardener's World has really been something which has inspired me a lot because one thing we do as gardeners, don't we, is that if we're either in the garden or when we're not in the garden, we're talking about gardening,
Yeah.
or we want to watch something about gardening to
Yeah.
keep us
Yeah.
inspired and keep that momentum going really. And I love it. So I've always loved Gardener's World, and that was great. And also the footage that I shot too. I mean, I was wandering around my allotment plot in the winter months, really collecting the soil from the molehills,
Oh
Yeah.
and
yeah.
and I do that often. Well, we seem to get more mole activity on the allotment in the winter, and I suspect it's because our the field next to us floods because it's got a brook in there that runs through to the river, and I feel that I think the moles decide to have a little vacation and make their way towards our allotment site for the winter months. And but it's great though. Honestly, I like that's one of my gardening styles. I really like working with nature and not against nature. Yeah.
You can
So
see that in all your videos. I mean, every
mm.
single one has some of the wildlife. You
Yeah.
get a really nice shot of the wildlife, especially your seems like your pet robin.
Yeah, yes, yeah, he is a bit. And again, that's quite interesting, really. Bob the Robin, who is my yeah, I like to call
Bob.
him my garden companion. He tends to yeah, in the spring months, obviously he goes off, and I mean, 2 years in a row now. So I've been on this site for 3 years, but in the past 2 years, I found yeah, he'll disappear in the spring months when he's raising his family, and I don't see him very
Oh,
much, and then he reappears again when he's done with
I see.
parenting. Although this year one of his little fledglings, one of his chicks, sort of stayed for longer than he should have really, and in the end he was getting very frustrated with him because he was trying to move him on. But
Just like,
but there's
please leave
plenty.
me.
Yeah, yeah,
Youth of today, hey.
that's it.
They want to stay living at home. It's because mortgages are so high. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And you put a load of carrots into your molehill soil, I seem to remember. Then you
Oh
showed a
yes,
shot at the end of them looking
yes,
really green and really
yeah,
fresh and
yeah,
healthy.
yeah.
Did you keep them in that pot or did you
I
then
did.
transplant them?
I did. That's right. Yeah, yeah. So I let them carry on and grow in that pot, and then I harvested them, and they were actually rainbow carrots, so they were all
Oh,
Oh,
our favourite.
multicolored. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
yeah. Although I was quite disappointed because there wasn't many purple ones in there, so
Oh
I had a lot of
no.
the white and orange, and only a couple of purple ones. But they did so well in the soil, and that's another thing because the soil is just so fine. It's like sand. A friend of
Hmm.
mine was saying, "Oh, but do you not worry about all this sort of weeds that might be in there?" But you'd actually be quite surprised because I think the mole sort of tunnel and it all comes from underneath the
Mm.
ground. There was no very little weeds in it, and the carrots did so well in it. So I have been doing that often. So I gather if I have a few buckets, I'll keep of course some of the molehill soil in the buckets, and then later on in the year I'll use it at the start for my seedlings.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
they do quite well in it. So it's great.
Well,
Oh
Monty
wow.
said, I seem to remember in his kind of outro after your segment, he said about all the good bacteria that's in the mole
Yeah.
soil and the nematodes as well. So
Hmm.
that's all helpful stuff, isn't it, to have
Hmm.
around your
Yeah.
plants.
Yeah.
And then you were growing some sweet corn, which you sowed direct. How did they end up doing?
Yeah, the direct sown sweet corn, unfortunately, what I should have done, and again, you learn a lot of lessons with
Hmm.
gardening on the allotment. What I really should have done was just covered it. I didn't cover it, and as soon as the shoots just started to appear,
Mm.
I think it was the birds.
Oh,
They had, yeah, they spotted it and they literally had the whole lot. The whole lot
yeah.
was gone. So I think that year I then used plug plants. But since I have found though that it is possible to direct sow sweet corn, but I just need to next time cover the bed
Cover them.
afterwards just to give them a bit of a start.
It's interesting you say about that because just today, actually, I went into my greenhouse and I'd left the windows open all night, and my 4 out of 5 lettuce plants, all of the leaves had been nicked off and just left to
Mhm,
one side. And it is exactly the same as the sweet corn. So I do wonder if it is birds.
mhm,
That's a bit
mhm.
cheeky, isn't it?
Mm.
That is true. Yeah, sometimes it is the birds. I have spotted the jackdaws doing that quite a bit. They
Okay.
seem to get into places and then yeah, they just I think they're just a little bit inquisitive and they'll just either pull something out of the ground or nip it. Um, but actually, you say that, Sweepy. I'm having the same thing at the moment with one of my. I've got a large potted plant that I got. I got the well, they were just roots really for Nymphofia, red hot poker,
Oh yeah.
grandiflora, so it should be a really big
Mm.
one.
Yeah.
And I've potted it in a pot, but every time the little shoots appear, something seems to. And I was thinking it might be slugs with that, but I've never seen them.
No,
But
exactly.
yeah, you
I
don't
mean,
see them, but something keeps
it just
nipping the
happens.
shoots.
And
Yeah.
surely
Yeah.
slugs, you'd see kind of nibble bits on the edge
That's it.
or
Yeah, or a
something,
bit
but
of trail, like snail trail or something.
yeah.
But yeah, not seeing any of that. But
Mm-mm.
something seems to just yeah,
It's so frustrating.
And
yeah.
on your allotment, how many beds do you have? And you've
That's
also set some beds up in your garden as well, haven't you? Veggie beds.
I have, that's right. So this year, I've set some beds up in my garden and I've really crammed so much into the beds at home just to
Mm.
see how everything goes. Because to be honest, I know sometimes people will say, like courgettes might outgrow some of the plants or they might compete or take up all the goodness out of the soil but to be honest I find you can successfully plant in a really small space and try and get a lot in to a small space and I'm seeing that in my home garden and everything seems to be doing really well. I think you've just got to make sure that the soil is continuously watered really well and
Okay.
if you sort of I suppose add
Feed them.
some feed as well
Mm.
like tomato feed and things like that helps.
Have you heard of square foot gardening?
Think Hugh Richards has done something on it. I think I might have
Oh,
seen something before.
maybe. Yeah,
I think
maybe
I
it's
might
some.
have
I tend to see it more in the US,
right.
but it's something we're having a go at, and so
Okay.
Mm.
we're really cramming stuff in.
Yeah.
We're tentatively doing it. It's quite scary when they say how many beans you can plant in 1 square foot, and we're just
Right.
we'll just reduce that number a little bit. So we're
Mhm.
not doing it with confidence just yet. But our
Mhm.
courgettes we really put in. So that's 1 courgette plant per square foot.
Great.
But we're growing all our courgettes up, so
Ah,
hopefully giving
great.
them a bit more space as well.
Yeah.
Ah,
But
yeah. Making the use of the space, but also vertically grown. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's a great idea. That yeah, I might have to try a bit of
We'll let
that.
you know how we get on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
completely.
definitely.
Right. Well, I think we now's probably a good time to get cracking with your dream garden, Amir.
Hmm.
Oh
So
wow.
I'm going to
Mm.
hand you over to our head gardener, Sweet Pea,
Yeah.
who's in charge. He'll be frantically taking notes of everything you choose. So over to you, Sweet Pea.
Right. So for your to start off your dream garden, what would be your garden boundary?
Ah, Sweepy, I really am fascinated by mature trees because
Mm.
I find that they're the perfect habitat, and so I would say that it would be lovely in my dream garden. It would be lovely to have really large mature trees like oak trees
Yeah.
and beech. Yeah, just for
Beautiful.
the sort of contrasting color as well, but also the fact that yeah, that there's just so much life that they bring.
So
And
Yeah.
much in there.
yeah, yeah,
All
and
the
so
squirrels, the owls.
the whole lot, the whole yeah, because when I was growing up, I used to read a lot of books of Colin Dan, the novelist, who also I think one of his novels, like The Animals of Farthing Wood, became an animation and it was on TV. And I was absolutely fascinated by that. The story of all the animals that went on this journey because the humans had taken their habitats and they decided that they needed to go somewhere where they were going to be safe and happy. And yeah, honestly, I was just like, that just inspired me. I was like, I'm always going to grow up and look after all the nature
Oh,
Yeah.
because I'm such an animal lover as well. And to be honest, when I was younger, I really wanted to be a vet.
oh, did
And
you?
yeah, I really did. A lot of people don't know that about me. I don't know how I ended up in the legal field and I ended up being a lawyer, but well, that was another story. But my very first job was as a teenager it was like a summer job, was an animal care assistant in a small animal practice.
Oh
Oh,
So I
wow.
got to look after all the animals and yeah, and we would get a lot of wildlife in that was sometimes injured or people bring in fledglings and things like that
Mm.
and I became a bit of a yeah, I really got a lot of experience in terms of looking after them and Oh, my mum would tell you a lot of stories as well. Honestly, she sometimes was afraid to open the door to me because she didn't know what I would end up bringing
You
home.
bringing home. That's so funny. But Amir, I do want to know how come you did go from being interested in veterinary science to law.
I remember, to be honest, it's quite funny, really. There was a vet, and at the time he was examining a dog, and yeah, there's the not so nice things that
Yeah, the
you get to see, yeah,
goriness.
the gory stuff, and the not so pleasant stuff, and yeah, he was doing a procedure on a dog, and he was like, do you really want to do this? Do you really want this career? Why don't you just become a lawyer or something? And
Oh no!
that sort of resonated with me a little bit. And a little bit, I do get a little bit sort of faint-hearted when I see blood.
Squeamish.
Yeah, a
Mm.
little bit squeamish. So yeah, I ended up ended up doing the completely different A levels, and then ended up doing law. But
And there's less blood in law.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And growing up as well, where
Oh.
I grew up in Birmingham, things were a little bit different back then. Like, I mean, I'm talking about the 1980s and early 90s, when, to be honest, there was lesser cars on the road, and people would be like, everyone's front doors would be open. As children, we didn't have any internet or iPads or anything like that, or iPhones, and we were out in the street playing with our friends till the late evenings. I remember all the hide and seek. There could be like 10, 12 of us children all outside, and including all the neighborhood dogs as well. They would all tag along,
Oh
and
wow,
there
that's
would be a
fun.
whole there'd be
Right,
a whole
gang.
troop, yeah, a whole gang. Their dogs would always win because they could just seek us out,
Oh my gosh, of
They would find
course.
us.
Oh, how
Yeah,
lovely.
brilliant,
So this
Yeah.
brilliant.
woodland is going to be copper beeches to get that nice sort of coppery colour, and then
Colour,
big oaks,
yes,
all the
yes,
wildlife in that, and that'd be
yes,
sort of at the back of your garden. Would you say the back boundary?
yes.
So
That's
you could
right.
be
That's
looking out on it.
Yeah, that's it. Something to look out on, and a landscape that's almost really inviting, almost like a woodland that just invites you
Yeah.
Lovely.
to a almost secret woodland.
So your garden kind of merges into this woodland.
Yeah,
Oh,
that would
how
be.
lovely.
Yeah,
Nature.
yeah, like something that's inviting you beyond. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
what's beyond those trees? And so then what would you have either side then coming up towards the
Either
property?
side, I think, as it would start coming in, I think either side, quite a lot of like mature, again, a lot of native species of shrubs would be quite nice.
Mm.
And then as it comes closer, to sort of give you that feeling of being in this sort of space, would be some nice grasses, because I think grasses are really, yeah, recently when I was in Malvern, I just felt like, looking at all the show gardens, I just felt a little bit like I really need more grasses in my garden. I could do
Yeah.
with more of that, because yeah, they bring in so much intrigue, don't they, in terms of the way that they can move, and the colors as
Exactly.
well. The colors, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, there's such
Yeah,
variety, isn't there? So kind of a prairie
absolutely.
vibe. We've been trying
Yeah,
to do some prairie beds, and we throw
Yeah.
in a few. We put in a lot of echinacea and rudbeckia, because that to me makes me feel like that's quite prairie-ish.
lovely, lovely.
Mm.
But also, what's the other thing you put in, sweet pea,
Well,
Brazilian blue salvia, didn't you, with some grasses,
Oh,
and that looked really
yeah.
pretty.
It's a really pretty one.
no.
It's a proper blue salvia, like it's an actual
Mm.
blue colour, not like a purple.
Mm.
And
That does sound nice. That does
it's
sound nice.
lovely.
Something that would just sort of pop, like, those
Mm.
sort of colours that
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh,
I mean,
nice.
even cornflowers and poppies are lovely in amongst
Yeah,
the
poppies have
grasses,
done
aren't they?
great in grasses.
Yeah,
Lovely. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely introducing all the different coloured cornflowers,
yeah.
almost a bit like I recently described, there was an area outside my work which was just a green, and then the groundspeople decided to make it into like a nice strip of meadow, and they introduced a lot of cornflowers, different colours, like the pinks and the blues, and
Oh,
the
pretty.
some were quite maroon coloured, and
Oh,
honestly,
Mm.
it looked almost like I was describing it as a Persian rug,
oh,
like you get all
beautiful.
those
Yeah,
literally like it was just like a carpet of colour, and
Yeah.
that's your
amazing.
view from your office.
It was literally, yeah, it was just literally outside my offices, and everyone would, I mean, usually we would just sit there, but everyone was so intrigued, and you'd see so many people every time on their lunch breaks or on their walks, and just sort of walking alongside this sort of path, and it really was like a highway for the pollinators. All the bees, you can see all the
Buzzing.
bees and the butterflies sort of,
Yeah.
all congregating around there. It was lovely, and it's just started to go over now. But even now, as it's gone over, I must
Seed
admit,
heads.
Yeah, with all the seed heads, and the birds are now in and
Oh,
out of it as
lovely.
well, like the
Exactly.
goldfinches.
Mm.
So that's true that we sort of, even when things look like they've gone over, the wildlife are still going to appreciate it. It's almost
Absolutely.
like another job for the wildlife, really, another thing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
benefits the wildlife. It's
The
great.
next stage for them. Arthur Parkinson talks a lot about grasses for birds, and he says about red millet being a very good one to
Oh,
have
that's a
out. That
great
the birds
one.
Brilliant.
absolutely love it, and he was even talking about how he was providing plants that Chelsea Flower Show did one year. They did an autumn show, and
Mhm.
he was talking about bringing bunches of red millet, sort of dried red millet, hanging it upside down as kind of bird feeders, really.
That is lovely. Yeah, that is lovely. I do like on my allotment, I leave the sunflowers to go over
Mm,
naturally,
Yeah,
because the goldfinches again, and the great tits, and all the different species of tits, they all love it. The birds just
just love it.
absolutely go over all the sunflowers.
mm.
And one of the lovely sights on my allotment is in the late summer evenings, you will get, they call it a charm of goldfinches, don't they? It's a
Oh, do
charm.
they?
Charm, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
such a
and you
pretty
will get,
name.
like, literally you will get swarms of them, and they go from one plot to another plot to another, and they come round again, and they'll do this feeding thing.
Oh,
But yeah, I think
sweet.
someone told me that, yeah, they call it a charm of goldfinches.
Oh,
So
that must be
yeah,
fantastic to watch.
it is, honestly, it's lovely.
So
It's so
evenings
lovely.
there's feeding time, is it?
I think they seem to. I think before they roost, they seem to do this thing where they come down and feed, and then go off. And when they're full, to roost, I suppose. But
Oh,
I see it
amazing.
a
I'd
lot
love
in
to
the
see that.
evenings. I see it in the
Yeah.
evenings on my allotment, and it's great.
What we're
Yeah,
getting a lot of actually is swallows coming. We built a pond earlier this year, April time it went in, and it's
lovely.
not a big pond, but we have a lot of swallows coming down, scooping down, and
It's so fun.
sipping on the fly.
Oh, yeah.
Just getting a drink from the pond.
Mhm.
It's that. I mean, that pond has been our big wildlife thing where we've just had so
Yeah.
much coming to it. All sorts. We've had a load of honeybees coming, and
Lovely.
we're assuming there's a hive nearby, but we have probably sort of 20 or 30 at a time just swarming in a little corner of the pond. There's a rock they can
Ah,
sit on, and they're just drinking water.
It's
yeah.
really
Very nice.
sweet.
You have a little pond, don't
That
you?
is lovely. A tiny one in my garden at the moment. I am hoping to create another wildlife pond on my allotment as well, because I'm seeing the benefits here in my garden at home with all the frogs. Because you might not spot them in your pond very often, because they sort of seem to be like nocturnal, and they come out at night. Although they do come out in the day, sometimes you'll see them. But I do
Mm.
find that they leave the pond, and they seem to go into like my beds, and I often find them in my veg beds at home,
Oh,
and which is great, because I know that they're sorting out the slugs for me,
Exactly.
brilliant.
and that is great. But I do find, so I'm seeing all those benefits, and I'm thinking I need this now
Yeah.
on my allotment as well. So I'm hoping to do it on my allotment
It's
as well.
definitely helpful, isn't it? So
Lovely.
for the boundary, so we've got at the
Mhm.
back, we've got the woodland, then we've got some kind of hedgerow, shrubby things coming towards, and then that's merging into prairie towards the house. So it's softer
Yes,
boundaries towards the house with the cornflowers, poppies, bit of colour in
that's it.
amongst your grasses, right?
Yeah, some pops of colour would be
Sounds
nice.
sounds good.
Next, would you be going for a shed or greenhouse?
I would say a potting shed. So a
Okay.
shed, and it would have to be like a potting shed, because I find that I thought about this long and hard, really, to be honest. Initially thinking, should it be a greenhouse? But then later I realised that, to be honest, if it was a potting shed, it would have more use, because not only
Yes.
would it have the use of um, me sitting in there preparing all
Mm.
my seedlings in the winter and early spring, and sort of sitting there potting things on as well, but also as a sort of a vantage point to sit in there and look out onto the garden, and
Yes.
look out at the birds and the wildlife, like almost like a little bit of a hidey hole for
Love a hide,
for
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that's it.
So you'd have
So
one area, no windows, and the other bit where you can look out. So you feel a
yes,
bit enclosed, but at the same time you can look out to the
yeah,
world.
that's it. It would
It's
be
kind
Oh,
of
lovely.
great.
multi-purpose a potting shed, isn't it? Because you can still use
Mm.
that as a greenhouse if you
Mm.
Yeah,
put your plants out on
yeah,
the window side.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
That's
sounds
it.
like a really good choice. And
Mhm.
what colour would you have your potting shed?
It would be nice to have it like a nice sort of a grey, like a nice something that would just help it sort of blend in a little bit. Yeah,
Mm.
that would be
Yeah.
nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
Oh, that's
sounds
pretty.
good.
yeah.
And also, would you want electricity in your greenhouse, for example, for some lights, maybe a kettle in there if you're wanting to get a cup of tea in the
Oh,
middle of the
good idea.
day or some coffee?
Oh, you know me well. Good idea. Yeah, I would love that. I really would. I would love having, yeah, something where I can literally, yeah, just pop the kettle on. And yeah, I do find though, Bob, my allotment companion, he does, when my shed door is open, he does fly into my shed.
Oh, sweet.
And but he seems to know either where I've put the mealworms, or
Oh,
he
that's
seems to know, and
hilarious.
he'll wait by the little container, keep them in a little jar, and he'll go onto the shelf and he'll sit on the shelf
Oh,
and by the jar,
Oh,
almost reminding me that I must
yeah.
give him a treat.
He sounds amazing, Bob. I saw one of the videos. He was sitting on your hat, which was on your head.
Yes, yes, that's
It
right.
was
That's
amazing.
right. Yeah.
He is so, so tame with you now.
He really is, and also a lot of the times you can't see, but he does. He seems to like to perch on the because I have my camera, which is my phone. I have it on a tripod. He seems to like sitting on my tripod, and then I've got him a little perch, which is an old. I think it was a lawn edger that I was using, and it snapped. And someone said, "Oh, another dibber," and I thought, "Do you know what? That can be Bob's perch." So I will occasionally take
oh,
that around with me when I'm doing some, because what I do is when I'm preparing a bed, for example, I'll take it and I'll put it into the ground, and then I'm doing my gardening, and he will come and he'll perch on it, and then he'll keep coming down when he spots a worm, and
This
then he goes
sounds
back
like a
up onto his
dream.
perch.
Like that
Yeah.
that's just my ideal, to just have wildlife coming and sitting around me like those Disney princesses.
And I do talk to him a bit as well, to be
Yeah,
honest. Like he's like,
of
we do
course.
have our conversations. Yeah.
Oh God, that sounds incredible.
that is so, so sweet. So now
Yeah.
we're going to go on to your 5 favourite ornamentals.
Oh,
What will you start with?
exciting. Exciting. When you look at, sometimes you can have a plant that just almost creates this instant impact.
Yeah.
And I find that, like, for example, you could have a whole bed that's cottage style planting, but you place a musa, a banana tree in there, and it
Yeah.
suddenly just gives you a completely different
Oh,
outlook, you know.
Totally different feel.
And so I would say the first would have to be musa. I call it, well, it's musa bastu is what I have here in my garden at home.
and what's
And
that? Is that
so
just a
yeah, an
regular?
ornamental Japanese banana tree.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so that's the general one, which is a hardy banana, which a lot of people have in their garden. They seem to form these. They almost like, if you leave them to mature for years, you'll end
Mm.
up getting like almost like a banana grove. Like, they seem to like
Oh,
they create all these pups, and they keep forming every
Yeah.
year. And to be honest, it's a great plant because it's not really a tree. Some people call it a tree, but it's not really a tree because you can just chop it down and it composts down, because it's almost just like water. It's like so
Yeah,
much
yeah.
water
yeah,
content.
thick, thick leaves.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. So
Do you cut yours
mhm.
right back then every year?
I don't protect, like I will. Some people will protect the whole stem with the promise that then if it survives the winter, then it will start growing the following year from the top. So you get a nice tall tree and a tall plant. But I really, to be honest, I don't have time to do that. So what I tend to do is I just mulch the base heavily. I don't chop the stem down. I do leave the stem there, because if it survives the winter, then I'll end up with a really tall banana, or it will collapse at some point during the winter and come
Mm.
down.
Mm.
And then what I do is I leave it to naturally come down, and because it will still just cover the ground, and then every year it will regrow from the base again.
So you're doing exactly what we do. We take a very low maintenance approach to just about everything we do.
Yes.
And the path of least resistance as well. And so we will just leave ours. And we thought initially, gosh, we're going to have to wrap this, but we saw a neighbour who was leaving his, and he's got, like you described, kind of almost a grove of bananas. All the babies
Yeah.
have appeared. And he just leaves it through the winter, and you get sort of brown. We think they're rather pretty leaves, but they're not as beautiful as the beautiful green, smooth ones. But sort of quite scraggly leaves just hanging down, and we just leave it. And
They
then,
look like bark to me. It's like an interesting coconut tree bark thing.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then, like you
yeah,
say, it just kind of grows up through that, and it seems to
yeah.
protect itself with
Mhm.
its
And then
bark. So.
exactly, and then by the summer it sheds that whole
Mm,
skin,
mm.
almost like a snake. It almost sheds its
Yeah,
Yeah.
jacket. It's winter.
exactly.
I call it a winter jacket. So it
Yes.
has a winter jacket, and then it sheds its winter jacket, and then you'll get a nice green stem again the following year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Mm, mm.
So, but you're not going for that one. You say you're going for something different for your dream
It
garden.
would be nice to have a. It's also a Musa, but it's called a Musa sycamensis, also known as a red tiger as well.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
yeah, which is a. It's very similar looking to the Musa bastu, but its leaves are tiger striped,
Oh,
literally like a tiger. Like
wow.
they're
Yeah.
really, really stripy. They get this sort of dark black or brown stripes on the leaves all the way through, and the center, where you've got the center sort of rib of the center, is usually quite red as well, unlike a Musa bastu, which is
Oh,
usually green.
beautiful.
Oh, that's
Oh, that sounds
amazing.
incredible. I don't think I've ever seen one of those.
No, I
Yeah.
haven't.
And how hardy are they?
They are, I would say, I have got one. But at the moment, maybe because it's always been quite a young plant and I haven't really got it to fully mature like a Musabastu, so it hasn't really matured. Although I have got friends who have got big giant ones, just like the Musabastu, and they seem to think they're just as hardy. In fact, someone told me they seem to grow a little bit slimmer and a little bit taller than the Musa
Oh,
Bastu. So I think the Musabastu are a little bit stubbier, like a bit stockier, and
Yeah.
these are slightly more slimmer
And
and taller.
elegant. Mm.
Yeah, that's it. Taller. The
Oh,
leaves seem to be quite long, thin leaves, but they but to be honest, I would say I find it just a little bit less hardier than I think it is still hardy, but a little bit less hardy than the Musa Bastru. So I would say it needs a bit more protection if it's
right.
out potted, planted out direct in the
Sure.
garden.
that's a great plant because, as you said, it's not a tree, but
Mhm.
it's giving you that great shade because the leaves are enormous.
It's a good
Yes, that's
structural
it.
plant, isn't it?
Yes,
And
that's
also
it.
provides lovely shade if you're looking for some shade over your
Yeah.
veggies or the rest of your
Oh,
garden.
oh yeah, absolutely. Like a really lovely canopy almost that
Mm.
you can then probably get away with underplanting it with hostas and things that like the
Oh,
shade
yeah,
or
yeah.
ferns. I've got here at home in my garden, I've actually planted a fern underneath my
Oh, have
banana.
you?
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a great
It's a,
sweet.
idea.
yeah, it's a small one, and it's a really beautiful fern. I got it from again this year in the spring show in Malvern. It was in one of the gardens, and it is a golden fern. So it
Oh,
almost
pretty.
like so the leaf when it unfurls, it's really really like orange, burnt orange, golden, and then as it
Mm.
starts maturing, the leaf starts getting golden and yellow. So it turns from golden, sorry, it turns from orange to a gold color, and then
Wow.
it will turn green as
Wow.
it's really old.
That sounds
So
stunning.
yeah, yeah,
It's
it's
like
lovely.
it's doing an autumn thing, but in summer,
In
But
reverse.
the other
in
way around in
reverse.
reverse,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah, absolutely.
is it doing well in the shade of your banana?
Surprisingly, I was getting advice from the person that was selling it because I was just like, would this do okay? Because I've got a very south facing garden and it's really hot and it gets very sunny. And he said it can do well under dappled shade. And I have found that since the banana's really put on some size now and it's covered up, it has really started to take off now. So fingers crossed, I'm hoping that it
Yeah.
does well.
Oh, fantastic.
Right. What would be your second plant?
I'm going for another, I would say another sort of tender plant, and that is the canna. I love
Oh,
cannas. I really
yes.
do. Again, I know it's very similar to a banana in terms of its. You can have some cannas that have very banana look to them, like a musifolia, which looks like a red banana.
Yeah.
Oh,
Has like
okay.
a yeah, they have like a very banana-y leaves. But I do like Canna Durban, which is quite stripy, almost really
Okay.
tropical looking,
Mm.
and very striking to be honest. Like you, it's one of those plants where you'd walk into a garden and you'll see it, and I find I just can't take my eyes off it because I keep looking at it, thinking, look at all those stripes and those the interest.
Oh, wow. And the
It's
beautiful
amazing.
big leaves again. So very
And
tropical vibe.
absolutely. And then it's a bit like a banana, and then the surprise of it all is the flower at the end. It grows a nice big bold flower on top, which could either be a nice red or some hot colours like dark orange. Yeah,
Beautiful.
they're
Oh, that's
lovely.
so
Do
amazing.
cannas produce fruit?
They no, they they flower and then because yeah, they're a bit like they have rhizomes, don't they? So
Yes.
they provide produce a lot of runners as well
Oh, okay.
under the ground.
Okay.
Hmm.
So a bit like yeah, you have your like sort of dahlia tubers. You seem to have these sort of rhizomes with cannas that just keep trailing with the
Right,
plant.
right. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so a real little tropical corner in this garden.
So,
Yeah.
what would be your third plant?
I would say I really like. I do love the tulips,
Mm,
and I do find that with tulips, we have so much variety, don't we? Like tulips are almost
yes.
yeah, yeah. It's just endless in terms of the way they look now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you get tulips almost that now are like almost like peonies, aren't they, with their double big
Mm.
heads?
Like peonies and those ones that Monty has in his meadow. What are they called? Very, very long, thin
Oh
petals.
Oh,
yes,
Very
he has in
pointy.
the Paradise Garden as well. Really
oh,
pointy,
nice.
feathery.
Oh, I can't remember what they're
Oh.
called. I'll
I
have to look
cannot
that up.
remember either.
That sounds nice. That does sound nice. The particular one I really like, and I'd love in my garden, which I have here as well, is a variety called Lady Jane, which is a
Okay.
really dainty tulip, and I find with it being quite small, they
Mm.
too, do seem to get fairly long stems though, and then they get these really dainty flowers. But they're really early, and I love
Oh,
that
great.
they come up so early each year.
It's what we need. It's that time of
Yeah,
year, isn't it? That
yeah,
sort of slightly dreary, drab
that's
January,
it.
February. The
Yeah.
excitement of those first tulips.
Yes.
We do get so excited, don't we, sweet pea? We spend a lot of time in late February, March, walking around the garden, checking if anything's come
Waiting,
up. Yeah, yeah,
looking for the little buds anywhere that they're
yeah.
coming.
Because we do tend to plant a lot of tulips every.
Mhm.
Well, actually, December really. We plant them quite late. When do you put in your bulbs?
Yeah, yeah, I do. To be honest, I always try and be really, I'm like this with everything, really diligent and start really early, but like I try to in sort of autumn. But yeah, I always struggle. I get them in around
Mm.
December time, really, to be honest, which is fine. I have planted tulips in January and they've still flowered, so
Yeah.
they're quite forgiving.
I
But
think I'm sure I read that tulips actually prefer it later rather
do
than
they? Yeah.
earlier. So
Hmm.
December,
Hmm.
January, I think are
Yeah.
pretty good times for it. So
Yeah.
that would be, so those tulips, are you going to have them in pots?
It would be nice to have them in pot, but also maybe in the bed because I would like more of them. And I do find this particular variety that I've had, it seemed to sort of produce a lot more each year, which
Oh,
is quite
Oh,
nice.
that's
fantastic.
great.
That's perfect, isn't it? Just what you want.
Because that's always the worry with tulips is you're going to
Mm.
have the great display one year and then you worry that you need to put more in because they're just the
Yes.
last ones are going to look more drabby and more
Sort of
Yeah.
not particularly
fading
nice.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I did follow Monty's advice in terms of I saw on TV where, like, after they obviously go over, he deadheads them, but obviously leaves the foliage there, so
Hmm.
it dies back naturally. And then he gives them a feed. So I've seen him,
Hmm.
like, give them a really good feed afterwards, so that you
Okay.
can put as much energy as you can into the bulb to hope that they come back next year. I find some tulips come back, but then seem to be a different color the following year. I
Oh,
don't know if you've ever
really?
had that. Have you ever had
No.
that? Yeah, I've
That's
had that
cool.
with some varieties where it was a tulip that I had, and they were like a white, and they had these splashes, almost like someone splashed paint on them, like red.
Hmm.
So they were so lovely, honestly. And then they were coming up the following year, and I was so excited, thinking, great. So I did all that. I followed Monty's advice, and I gave them a feed, and they were all coming back, and I was really excited. And I was expecting that really pale white tulip with the
Mm.
red splash on them. And they all came back yellow. They still had the red
What?
splash.
Oh,
They had
so
the red color,
completely different colour.
yeah, so they had the red sort of patches and splashes on them, but the white was yellow. It turned yellow, so they
What on
were
earth happened? Well, like quite an obvious yellow, or
a
just
really
like an ivory?
obvious,
Oh, how
like a yellow
strange!
tulip. Yeah,
I've
yeah,
Oh,
never heard of that.
that
yeah,
is really weird.
yeah. So I wasn't sure really whether someone told me. I asked around. I couldn't find. Someone said, well, maybe when they created it and one of it's either reverted back to a parent plant or
Right?
something or color,
How
which
interesting.
I couldn't.
What was
Yeah.
the feed that you used that Monty said to use?
Oh, to be honest, I just used Miracle Grow. So
Right?
it was just
Okay.
like it was just a Miracle Grow, just a standard feed that
Yeah.
you'd give your
Yeah.
plants and veg, really, to be honest, like an all-rounder.
So you're having the tulips in some pots. Would you like
Yes.
what specific type of pot would you like? Like a
Oh,
terracotta?
I just love the standard terracotta pots.
Yeah.
I just
Mm.
love terracotta
Can't go
pots
wrong with
where,
that, can you?
yeah, yeah. One thing I find, I think Monty does it often as well, doesn't he? Because with the little iris, when he plants these iris in these little terracotta pots,
Yes.
and I love that, really, to be honest. Is like again, it's quite exciting because I do enjoy. That's one of my late winter jobs. I really enjoy potting up tulips and doing like a tulip lasagna
Yeah.
in the pots.
Yes.
I love doing that. I really get really excited about it. And because you just don't know how it's going to look, and you're really then waiting in anticipation for the
Mm.
spring to come and see how they all turn out. And I like to sort of get a little collection at home and do that, and then I move them on into my front garden just outside my front door, so
So is
that
this just tulips, or are you also doing the dwarf irises and some daffodils in your lasagna?
Yeah, yeah. Usually different types of tulips. The last time
Okay.
I did it with just tulips. I did pop a couple of alliums in there as well.
Oh,
And
Oh,
pretty.
lovely.
yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I put in. What did I put in? The one I did was I used allium Everest, the white allium, the
Oh,
white.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, I
yeah.
love that one.
So yeah, so that one did really well, and it is nice because again, yeah, when they die back, you think, oh, and then, but it's nice because then the alliums come out, so that would be
Yeah.
quite nice, really. Maybe some iris too because they're nice. They flower around the same time as
Yeah,
the
yeah.
alliums.
I love the dwarf irises that Monty does. We tried
They're
some
so
dwarf
pretty.
irises on a sort
Right.
of dwarf bulb bank that we have. And
Ah,
they come up quite early, don't they? I think
Really
very
June.
early.
early.
They're one of the
Yes,
first things to come up, and yeah, it's
Like they
yes,
come up
gorgeous.
through the frost as well, which is looking so pretty. So when you come early morning, the
yeah.
sun is just hitting the frost, so it's got all the droplets, and you've got these beautiful irises.
Dots
And
of
we get
purple
like
around.
really purples and magentas.
Yeah,
They look
Oh,
amazing.
gorgeous.
that is lovely, and I do love that. I love that those sort of plants that give you that really early surprise.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So needed.
What will be your fourth plant?
Um, Again, it's a little bit of a structural one. Is like the New Zealand flax, which is a nice sort of it has these strands of sort of
Quite
bronzy
strappy.
coloured leaves. That's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I like that. It gives a bit of structure and a bit of intrigue because when everything dies back as well, sometimes it's nice to have something there in the winter
Mm.
that still
it's an
looks the
evergreen then.
same. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Okay, what
Yeah.
color is it? The leaves.
Sort of like a dark. I think they call it the. Sometimes people call it the black flax or the New Zealand flax, but it can sometimes they're almost really dark and bronzy. Almost they almost look black, and
Okay,
but then you can get certain varieties that almost have sometimes a few strands that come out that are almost quite pink or maroon,
oh
sort of coloured a
pretty,
little bit.
Beautiful.
So there are
lovely.
some really interesting varieties, and some can be variegated, and sometimes you can get them
Yes.
without, which is quite nice. Um,
Okay.
I do find though, yeah, sometimes they do die back a little bit in the winter. But then you can give them a little bit of a haircut in the spring
Oh,
the
funny,
following
just
year.
How big do they get?
Oh, they can actually get quite substantial, and I've seen some. There's a few where my offices are at work, and they flower as well. So they get this huge sort of a spike that just comes
Mm.
out of the center, and then it almost looks like a stag's horns. Almost like has this like sort of like a spike, and then it has these little sort of tendrils that all come off it, like a
Antlers.
almost like antlers. Yeah, yeah.
It reminded me of something, Amy, when you said you've got them at your offices, because we bought, well, no, we got one free with a plant order that we made, and we put
yes.
this into a little spot. We really liked it. As you say, it's structural, so we were very pleased that it all
Well, no, we
stays.
weren't happy. I wasn't happy with it because I was like, this is a really boring plant that we've been
Oh,
given.
really?
Because I just saw, all I saw were leaves, and I was like, I want
Yeah.
some flowers, people.
So we put that in. It's been growing and really quite big, and it's getting in the way of other things, but we love it now.
It's the best thing ever.
And then, do you remember, Sweet Pea? We were driving past Lidl not so long ago, and in their car park, I saw the most enormous plants, and I
It
said,
was
"I'm
enormous.
sure that's what we have." And I didn't know it was called a New Zealand flax,
Yes,
and
yes. Oh, that's
I
it. Yeah, so
think
the
it's
name is
same.
Formium. Formium. That's what.
Oh, formium, but
Yeah.
Formiums.
but it was really enormous in Lidl car park,
Like it was meters by meters.
yeah, it was
Really
a
Yeah,
huge beast. So
yeah.
slightly worried about that. Anyway, but
slightly.
that's there's a lot that worries me in our garden, but that's another conversation.
Yeah. And finally, what will be your last plant for the garden? The
I
last
do like.
ornamental.
Yeah, yeah. I do find I like crocosmias,
Beautiful.
and I find with crocosmia they seem to. I know that you either love them or you hate them. Some people just find. I know they can have that bad reputation of sort of becoming a bit
Spreading.
too. Yeah, it's that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, someone's like they've described a bit like a potato. If you leave it in the ground, like they just shoot, and then you get more and more each year.
Yeah.
But I just love them. I've got Crocosmia lucifer in my garden, which I use next to. I usually plant it next to my bananas because I find again those pops of color, that vivid red against the green banana leaves. Just you can just see it from a mile
Oh,
away,
yeah.
and it is really really lovely. But also I've got one variety which I was really excited about, and I saw that on Gardener's World, was Crocosmia paniculata, which I think Nick Bailey on Gardener's World did an episode where he was in
Oh.
South Africa,
And those
and
prairies, they were prairies of
that's it.
Crocosmia, weren't they? Just as far as the eye
Yes.
could see.
Yes, that's right.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that really excited me. Honestly, I was like,
Mm.
I looked at that plant. The he was in fields full of them, and I was like, oh, I would love to have that in my garden. And I was really surprised. I went to a garden centre here. We've got a quite an unusual garden centre. It's not far from Gloucester. Well, it's in Gloucestershire. It's not far from where I live, and they specialise in getting plants from all over the world.
Hmm. What's it
And
called?
the man, it's called Pan Global Plants.
Right.
And the man that owns it, he travels. He's on my Instagram as well, and he travels around a lot. He's really well traveled and really knowledgeable, and honestly has some really beautiful plants there. And I was there because I always like going there just to get a bit of a surprise and see what's there and what's growing. And I was really surprised. I saw a pot and it said Cosmea paniculata, and I was like, "Really? You've got it?" So I bought it, and it was only a really small, tiny thing, and I
Mm.
planted it in my garden. And this year, it's really coming on.
Oh,
It's going to put on a show, and now I've just got all the flower heads are just appearing now, and it's looking really nice. So I can't wait to see how it looks in flower.
How does it differ from Lucifer, for example?
It's I think it is apparently one of the parent plants to Lucifer.
Oh, okay.
So I have a feeling it has like slight red to it, but it's more orange, like a very, very deep orange.
Hmm.
But its leaves at the moment, to be honest, are really large and strappy, a bit like a
Yeah.
Lucifer. The leaves are identical, but the flowers should be orange and red, I think. I think it's
Oh,
orange and red.
gorgeous.
At the moment, they're
wow.
just starting to appear, and it's doing something a little bit different than the Lucifer at the moment, where the flowers. So it seems to each flower head seems to be bunched full of lots of flowers. So I can't
Oh, I see.
can't
Yeah.
can't wait to see what it looks like.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, hopefully we'll see some photos on your
Yeah,
Instagram
Mm.
page.
yeah,
I'm in
that's
the
it.
same camp as you, Amir. I love crocosmias. And actually,
Yes.
I love them because they do apparently spread, but they're just not spreading in our garden yet. And I want them to. I think they're brilliant. In fact, I'd
Mm,
like them in amongst grasses in kind of
yeah.
our prairie beds as
Yeah, that
well.
would look amazing.
We should try and get that going.
Yes. Yeah.
Definitely.
Lovely, lovely. Mhm.
So is that your last plant?
In fact, actually, I would say no. I will add. I
Oh,
really like cyclamen as well.
oh well,
Oh,
they're gorgeous.
Yeah,
And they come out
and
at a different time of year as well. So winter
exactly,
interest.
exactly. So the winter interest, and what I really like about them as well is it is that I know we were talking about it earlier about winter and things looking a little bit bare, and you sometimes are looking for a little bit of excitement and interest over winter, like the hellebores. But I really really like cyclamen because you almost get this like sort of carpet of
Mm.
variegated leaves, and I love that
yes.
about them. And then you get your pops of white, and I really like the white cyclamens because they sort of come out at the same time as the snowdrops.
Yeah.
But then I love the way that their leaves all sort of, yeah,
The
they're
heart
almost like a,
shapes.
that's it. Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. And they're quite intricate as well, like quite one of those plants that you'll see it from a distance and you want to go closer to it just to see and appreciate those
They
little.
really have got beautiful leaves. We've taken some nice photos because, like you say, Sweet Pea, that it's a perfect heart, isn't
It
it?
is.
Mhm.
It's beautiful,
Yeah.
and you see all the lines and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we tend to get ours from, if people come over for Christmas drinks or something, they'll bring a pot with a cyclamen in, and so we keep them in
Yeah.
the kitchen until they're done, and then we go and bury those in the garden, and they come up really well under the shady
Yeah.
trees. Of course, they need to be in more shady areas, don't they? I think they're more woodlandy.
Definitely woodlandy.
So
Yes. Yes. Oh, and that would be nice, really, because then they can spread into my
yes,
woodland. Yeah, my woodland
Mm.
it's your
where all
personal
the
woodland.
yeah, that's it, where all the oaks are and the trees, and yeah, oh, that would be lovely.
Oh, that sounds bliss. Right, so we've got white cyclamen. That's the fifth one.
Lovely. Well, we have all of your ornamentals, so we're now on to the edibles, which is a lot of fun. So, what would be your first edible?
I find that because on my allotment as well, the strawberries are always the first to come up, and
Okay.
they're the first that I sort of harvest each year. So I would say, but a variety of strawberry is a Franberry. Have you ever heard of
I
Franberries?
haven't
No.
heard of those.
Yeah, they're like the way I would describe them is a really, really fragrant strawberry. So you know when you sort
Okay.
of picture that sort of strawberry scent, that really sweet, that very, very sweet scent. I find they're
Hmm.
really, really fragrant like that, but they also seem to have that quite sweet flavour as well.
So they're
They
sweeter than strawberries.
That's it. Yeah, I do find they were on my allotment once. They were coming up, and I just assumed they were strawberries. But then when I was picking them, I was thinking, oh, you look a bit different to a strawberry because, like, you've got strawberries that have the little sort of seeds on the
Yeah.
outside, and you
Hmm.
couldn't see them on this. They've almost got like little dimples, almost, and the
Okay.
shape is a little bit more. They're slightly rounder than a strawberry. And I was thinking, but they were so fragrant, and I gave loads to like family, and my father-in-law was like, honestly. I know you get strawberries in the shops and everything, but he was like, I don't know. They were just so sweet and they were so fragrant. And then I was thinking, well, what are they? And then it wasn't until I think I saw a friend who's also got a YouTube channel who was growing them and talking about them. And then when I saw the fruits, I was like, oh, that's what I've got on my allotment.
Ah,
Because initially I just thought that they were
an
a
odd-looking
strawberry.
strawberry.
Yeah, and then I realised they're actually Franberries, so
Oh, how
that's when I
interesting.
discovered. That's when I discovered, and yeah, so I would definitely have them in my garden
Oh,
as a
they
new.
sound good.
Did you inherit them so you got
Yes.
to your allotment and they were just there?
They were, yeah, they were already, yeah,
Oh,
they sort of,
wow.
yeah, everyone always seems to, on an allotment, usually as standard. I mean, if you're lucky, you'll get a decent strawberry bed, but you always get a rhubarb. There will always be a rhubarb that's
Yeah.
knocking
Yeah, it
around
just comes up going,
some,
hello.
That's so
yeah,
true.
somewhere on your allotment. So even if you get your allotment in the winter and you can't see anything, it will suddenly appear
Yeah.
in the spring. So you usually get a rhubarb. Occasionally, you'll tend to get strawberries on allotments a lot. Everyone seems to have their own little sort of strawberry bed somewhere, um, and um, and yeah, I have a very very large strawberry bed, which I don't cover because I find that I get enough to harvest myself, and then I'm happy to share them with the birds and the
Yeah.
wildlife. So I
It
don't
sounds
really
like
even
you get a
cover it.
huge amount if you can share them with wildlife and with your friends.
Yeah, yeah, they do. It's a really really large bed. Although this year I am thinking I might start over a little bit because I mean I could take the runners and then obviously
Mm.
start with the
Yeah.
runners again because strawberries only really I think they do well for the first 2 to 3 years and then usually that's
They're
the
spent.
cycle. Yeah, they
Oh,
get
okay.
yeah you'll get less fruits so it's sometimes better to sort of yeah replenish them every so often. You could do that either with the runners or if you want to change and get a new variety
Yeah, yeah.
then that's quite
So,
nice.
so you think you're going to take your Franberries out then and start over?
Yes, I've got. In fact, actually, I just want to this year get more runners and have more Franberries on the allotment.
Oh,
I just
okay.
find that there's not. I don't have enough of them, and that's why I mention it
Yeah.
because I would like them in my garden, in my dream garden, and in my garden at home, and on the allotment. It'll be
Everywhere.
perfect. Mm,
Franberries everywhere.
Sounds brilliant.
Got it. That's a good first edible and one
Yeah.
we
mhm,
haven't heard of.
mhm, mhm.
So, what would be
Yes,
next?
I would say. I would say tomatoes. Tomatoes are again another
Oh, they're
all-rounder.
great. Mm.
And you just and again they all gardeners really get really excited about tomatoes. I
Yeah.
do find that if you do a tomato YouTube video, it's probably one of the
Oh.
ones that will give you the most views.
It will,
Isn't that
because tomatoes are
interesting?
great.
Because
I mean,
everyone gets excited
we're
about
pretty
tomatoes.
passionate about tomatoes.
Oh,
We've
Yeah,
gone for it
big time.
this year.
What
brilliant,
types do you
brilliant.
do, and what types would you like?
I've tried this year. I've my first year when I did them on the allotment, I did a lot of the Italian varieties,
Oh,
like
yummy.
San Marzano for the plum, and I
Hmm.
did lots of Constelluto di Parma, and I think there was another one which was a very ribbed beefsteak
Oh, really big and
type
juicy,
tomato.
thin skin.
Yeah, yeah, and also actually I did Gigantamo, which was the most.
How
That I
big
did in
did
my
that get?
greenhouse. It did get really big. It was like a really large giant tomato. It was massive. What we did was we actually we we stuffed them
Oh,
Oh,
with
lovely.
with like
yummy.
yeah with my wife made this really nice sort of with sort of lean mince, you just use chicken mince, and but I suppose you could do it with corn if you're vegan, and stuff them with stuff these tomatoes, and then then we put the tops back on and bake them.
Oh, amazing.
They did really well, really well. They seem to hold their form as well.
And how
The
many of
gigantic,
those Gigantica?
gigantamo,
Gigantomo.
gigantoma.
Gigantamo. How many of those do you get per plant approximately?
Oh, to be honest, on the plant when it did last year, we had about I had about six fruits. So
Whoa.
in one bunch I had three quite large ones, and then another part of the plant which flowered had another sort of three bunched
Oh,
together.
okay.
So three or four usually,
Yeah.
but they can get very, very big. I mean, once you start seeing them appear, it's almost like each time you look at them, they just seem to grow.
And the
Yeah.
plant's able to stay upright, holding this great big thing?
What I do is I tend to put more supports in when I see that the
Okay, yeah.
if the plant is slightly struggling because of the weight of them, then usually I just put a few more bamboo canes in there
Right, right.
and tie up the stem just to avoid them. But yeah, you will see that yeah, as they're fruiting, as they're getting bigger, they're just sort of going lower and lower. So yeah, it's nice to sort of prop them up a little bit.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
holding
because
on
the
for dear
plants.
life.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
sweet. Have you tried any purple tomatoes?
Yeah, a friend of mine from Canada sent me loads of tomato seeds this year, and so I am trying a dark one, Brad's Atomic Grape, which is
That
like a
one's
black.
meant to be beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a rainbow.
It's got quite a nice. At the moment, it's come up. I planted it out direct in my garden,
Oh,
in my one of
wow.
my beds in the garden, and it's coming up. It's got quite an interesting looking flower compared to. I know
Oh,
sometimes they get super blooms, don't they, when they get this really big. Have you seen the
yes.
super
I
blooms
I
when they get
have
this really
super.
big?
Yes, I
Yes.
have seen them in the garden, and I was actually looking at them, and I was going, has some kind of morphage happened here? Because I was really worried. I was like, this is like crazy. It's really big.
Yeah.
So is that what it is?
Yeah,
A
you'll
super
get a big.
bloom?
Usually, I find, yeah, you then get a really big fruit on it, so you'll get a big tomato.
Yes.
But they've got yeah, they almost like a really large yeah. So yeah, they've got quite a few interesting looking flowers on mine as well. So I don't know what to expect.
So when
Oh,
you say
crikey.
you sowed it direct, what time of year did you put that in? Just straight
Oh,
after
sorry,
the
no,
last frost?
sorry, not direct. So I planted them out, and then I've just planted them out into my garden. Whereas last year I planted quite a few in the greenhouse, and then
Oh,
quite a
I
few
see.
outside.
I've got
So yeah,
you.
I just planted them direct outside. So they're just outside outdoors. But I put them out. To be honest, I've still got a few in pots that I need to put out in the garden. It's just I'm quite
Time.
yeah. The time is sort of like running out now, but
Yeah.
it's again typical because I've just sown so many tomatoes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
So how many plants do
typical.
you have then? Tomato plants this year?
Ooh, I think there must be about 25 plus. I think
Wow.
yeah. There is
Ooh.
So you're
quite a
going for
lot.
it.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you harvest all your tomatoes, you get quite a glut, I assume.
Lots, yeah. We've only just finished out from last year. So
Oh, fantastic.
what we tend to do with ours, yeah, is we tend to so take them, chop them all up. Sometimes, to be honest, if I even do the green, sometimes with the green tomatoes, I will just let them sort of colour up indoors, like in a dark. If you put them in a dark box and they sort of colour up
Oh,
nicely.
in a dark box.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
seems kind of
yeah.
counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Yeah. They seem to. What you do is just. In fact, actually, to be honest, what we did last year, and that was we had the most results because I found my San Marzano plum tomatoes. They seem to redden. They take so long to turn red and
Oh, okay.
ripen. So they took the longest to ripen. So I had a lot of green plum tomatoes last year. And sorry, what we did with them actually, which I remember the year before we put them in a box, is the paper bags. Yeah, the dark, like a paper
Oh,
brown paper
right.
bag.
Yes.
Mm.
So we popped them all into like a paper bag and then just put them in quite a nice airy cupboard where it was and they all ripened perfectly.
Oh,
They absolutely.
interesting. You
Yeah.
don't put a banana in or anything like that because that's
I
often
was
used,
going
isn't
to,
it?
yeah, that's another really good tip I've heard that helps as well, helps bring on the ripen. But I find if you just leave a couple of red tomatoes in there,
Mhm.
then it does the same thing. Yeah,
Oh,
it's sort of
okay.
yeah.
Oh,
So if you've
brilliant.
already got a couple of red, you've got to be careful because you don't want the red to then go over
Yeah.
No.
and go back and spoil. So occasionally you could just keep checking on them and you'll find you've got a few more red ones that you can take out and then just leave the
Yeah.
rest and they seem to colour up in a paper bag. Yeah, it
Oh,
seems to do
top
really
tip.
well.
I'll
Yeah.
Oh,
give that a
that's
go because we do
great.
end
Yeah.
up with a load of green ones, and it
Yeah.
Mm.
seems a shame to lose them. You
Yeah.
could. Sarah Raven talks about making chutneys with her green ones, a chili
The green.
chutney.
It is lovely. Yeah, they are lovely.
Yeah.
The green, they're nice and tangy. So yeah, that
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Go for that.
What do you make with your tomatoes? Have you got a
We
specific family thing?
Yeah, but we do so much with them. But what we do to when we harvest them, what we tend to do is we do make a lot of sauces with them, like a really quick, just very simple, just a little bit of salt, a little bit of chili pepper, and a little bit of oil, and then my wife will just cook them all into a sauce, and then yeah, we just freeze them. We just freeze it like that. So
Oh,
we use
great.
so it's almost become a base then, like a base sauce for anything that we later need to cook with. You can just literally take it out and yeah, and sometimes if you're because they can take up a lot of space in the freezer, you can literally just pour them into like little sort of sandwich bags and then freeze them, and
Yeah.
you can get more into the
Great.
freezer that way.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I did see on one of your videos you were making these courgette balls, kind of courgette
Oh
meatballs
yes,
almost, and then you were putting
yes.
that into one of your tomato sauces, I think, were you?
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
that.
yeah, so we use that tomato sauce as a nice base, and then yeah, because I'm already getting my courgette glut now, and it is like a vegan alternative to meatballs. Like you literally just skin the courgettes, grate them, mix them with some. We use gram flour, which is like chickpea flour,
Oh, yeah.
and
Okay.
some a little bit of chili powder and a little bit. We use Kashmiri chili powder, which isn't too spicy, and just a few herbs and spices, and then. You just roll them up into little balls, give them a gentle fry until they've gone a nice golden brown, and then you can add them to your base sauce. And yeah,
Oh,
they're
that
lovely,
sounds
really,
so good. It
really
looked
tasty.
so good
Yeah.
on the video.
Yeah. Mhm.
So we'll
Yeah.
have to give it a
You'll have
go.
to you'll have to come over for dinner
Oh, right.
because
That's where's my diary? Let's pop that in, sweet pea.
yeah, put it in the diary.
We have you on
Um,
record for saying that.
yeah, yeah, put it in the diary. You're more than welcome. I love that. I to be honest, I am also a foodie, so I
Oh, we
love
are.
I love trialing things, and I find my wife as well. Which I know I didn't mention this, but both of us like we're both actually happen to be lawyers. We both met at law school,
Oh.
and that's how we met in uni in the first year,
Which
and
uni was that?
yeah, it was in Bristol,
Oh,
Oh.
okay. So not far from you.
and yeah, not far. That's why I sort of ended up staying here because I was still when I after I graduated and um, then looked for work and I ended up working in Bristol, and so we were always that was our plan actually. We were planning to live in Bristol, but we found my wife's got family here in Gloucester, and then my family originally are all in Birmingham, so we found Gloucester was perfect because it's in
Nice halfway
between.
point.
Yeah, that's it. So not too far from my family and my wife's family, and then also not too far from my work as well.
And do you both practice the same type of law?
No, we don't actually. So I do a lot of employment law, mainly commercial law, and I do some family as well. And my wife mainly does a lot of family, and she's also got like an insolvency background, so she does a
Oh,
lot of
right.
debt and insolvency, and yeah, that's
Right.
sort of her background. But she does do quite a bit of sort of employment advice as well. And but she's not a keen gardener.
Oh,
So she's
isn't
not.
she?
Oh.
No. And
That's
this is the thing.
interesting.
What I was hoping to do was this year was give her the bug. So I moved part of my allotment, bought it home, you know, set up all these beds at home, thinking that she'll come out and really get involved. And it
It's,
hasn't
it's
happened
not
yet.
happening.
It's not.
No, it's not. It's not. She has
Oh,
not got the bug yet. She will
Amir.
come out. She was. I must admit, she was taken a little bit by the sweet peas. So the
Oh,
sweet
yeah.
peas are looking beautiful in the garden at the moment. And I did spot her the other day. Like she was going over and giving them a little sniff and saying, "Oh, these look really lovely. You need more of these." So she's very good at directing me. You could do with a bit more of that,
Perfect.
please. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Or grow more of this.
Yeah,
Um,
especially if
but
it's the edibles for the kitchen. Make amazing food with.
She sounds like a
yes.
smart woman to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we both like sort of yeah what I grow and what we bring inside, and then we both like to sort of get a little bit creative with what are we going to cook with it, and let's
Yeah.
try something new or something a little bit different, and yeah, it's
There's
lovely,
nothing
lovely.
more rewarding than picking your own produce and then cooking it, is there?
It's
Yeah,
so much
it's
fun.
great.
Right, next, what would be your third edible plant?
My third edible plant would be I would probably say potatoes because everyone
Ooh,
loves potatoes.
they're
There's
Everyone loves
nothing.
great.
potatoes.
Yeah, and the excitement too. To be honest, I think one of the most exciting things to harvest is
Mm-hmm.
always the potatoes.
It's treasure.
Honestly, they're like yeah, that hidden
Yeah.
treasure. It's
Getting
like
stuck in, hands in the soil.
Yeah, that's
Figure
it.
out.
That's it. Yeah, I love it, and I do grow. I tend to plant them the traditional way in trenches, and yeah, yeah,
And
I
then you
do
mound
try.
it up as they grow.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Oh, you
Yes.
Oh
something I wanted to
wow.
ask you, Abby. Actually, do you use the no dig technique?
What I was doing on my allotment at the moment, so at home in my garden is no dig, and on the allotment, half of the so I have like you'll see the grass path in the middle, and I have two sort
Mm.
of plots on either side. The plot on when you're standing looking at the whole plot, on the right side, that is predominantly more no dig,
Hmm.
because that's where I started out really. The other side is more traditional, and I've got a lot of flowers in rows. I've got lots of gladioli which I've planted in rows
Wow.
and dahlias in rows.
Oh,
So it's a
wow.
bit more sort of traditional, sort of formal, like an allotment. But on
Mm.
the other side is a little bit more no dig. Ideally, I would like to be completely no dig. But one thing I'm really lucky with my allotment though is that we've got very, very good soil.
Oh,
And so
brilliant.
yeah, so it's not a clay soil. So literally anything I plant direct just does really, really well.
Oh, how
So
lucky.
so I am really
Wow.
lucky in
Yeah.
that sense, and that's another story as well. Really, to be honest, was when initially I put my name down for an allotment plot, and and I was waiting for a very long time on one particular site, and then someone mentioned this site which I'm at now, and I put my name down here, and I literally got called within 4 or 5 weeks, and then the
Wow.
other site called me as well. So I ended up getting a chance to visit both different sites. And the other site, immediately I thought this has to be, it was very large, a really, really large plot. But I immediately was like, this whole plot is going to be no dig, because it was just clay soil.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And this allotment, when I came to it, it was literally, it just looked like a wildflower meadow. It was just covered in poppies and
Mm.
wildflowers. And I just literally just sort of dug a little bit around it, and I just thought that soil under
Good
there
soil.
is really good soil.
Mm.
Instantly, honestly, it was really fine and lovely.
How
So yeah.
lucky. That's really fortunate, isn't it?
Yeah. So it was a bit of a no-brainer. And then I ended up here. I picked a plot. It was a very central plot, and I did really well. And the allotment association, they were lovely. They were like, "You've done really well this year." And then, but I couldn't have a shed at the time. Our rules have changed now, so we can now have sheds in central plots. But at the time, because any plot that was sort of in the front or in the centre, we were not able to have a shed. So
Oh,
as soon
okay.
as I realised that the plot that I'm at now became available, I then asked if I could move, and I ended up moving. And that's a corner plot
Right.
which borders the farmland. So that's where I have my
Yes.
horsey friends that
Oh,
come
wonderful.
over. Yeah, they come over and say hello as well.
It sounds like a
And
really special plot you've got.
it's
Mm.
Like an
honestly,
ideal
it is
location.
lovely. It is lovely. I'm quite the owner. I've never met the owner of the farmland next to me, but he seems to allow it to. He doesn't cut the grass. He seems to let the ponies ramble on it and naturally.
Hmm.
So it's very natural, and so it does become a bit like a meadow at one stage. Naturally the grass grows quite long, and I do find, honestly, like the butterflies are all just flying over, because there's only a chain linked fence
Oh,
between us, and
Yeah.
I find I can just see the insects and the bird. Everything is just coming over.
yeah.
Literally, it's amazing.
Oh, it
It
does
really
sound
is.
That's
incredible. You have such a good spot.
that's
Yeah.
brilliant for
How far is?
pollinators.
Yeah, brilliant for pollinators. How
Yeah.
far is it? It's walking distance, is it, from your house to your
My it's
allotment?
it's it's just, yeah, literally it's 1 mile. So
Yeah.
yeah, 1 mile from where I live. My plan, my ultimate dream is, so this is why I'm working hard as a lawyer in my day job, and then I want to retire early, and I want to have a nice little small holding. So all this experience that I've gained from growing my own
Mm.
on my allotment and in my garden, I then would love to have my own little small holding
Oh,
where I can then just live off the land.
oh, it sounds idyllic.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be
that's my
nice?
dream. Yeah.
One
And my
day
garden will be just like this garden that we're
that we're
planning now.
designing now.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
sounds
that's it.
perfect.
Exactly. Well, this is why we're putting the design down now.
Yes. Yeah, it would be lovely.
So coming back to the potatoes, do you have any particular varieties that you really like?
I do. I love the standard. I love Charlotte potato because it's quite a blight resistant sort of waxy potato. It always surprises me because, unlike the other ones, it comes out clean. So whenever
Oh,
you're sort of, I
Exactly.
don't, it just comes out like a really, really white
It
potato.
really does, doesn't it? It's
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
I don't
Pretty.
know how that happens.
I just don't
No.
know. It just seems to surprise me. But I do this year. I've grown Red Duke of York is another really popular one. I've just harvested my Red Duke of York, and now every year I do the same thing. I harvest it, and I think, oh, I wish I grew more on as a main crop because they'll get really big if they're left in the ground. They get
Mm.
really big, and they're a lovely all-round potato, quite a fluffy
Mm,
potato, but it's a very red potato. So when they come out, they're like these bright red potatoes.
gorgeous.
So yeah, they
Oh.
are lovely. And a friend suggested pink fir apple this year,
Oh,
Oh, I
and
okay.
haven't heard of that one.
that's another variety that I've tried this year. Someone told me it tastes a little bit nutty, maybe, but it's a bit like a little knobbly potato. So it
Right.
doesn't look
Oh,
like a yeah. So it looks
okay.
Have
quite
you
knobbly.
harvested any yet?
Not yet.
Otherwise,
That's a
no.
main crop, so I won't be
Oh, okay.
harvesting it for until later on in the year or the winter, autumn, winter.
What is the difference? Because it's one thing I've never completely understood. I've
Yeah,
just grown potatoes to eat potatoes. Quite
yeah,
simple thing. But
yeah.
what is the difference between your early, your main crop, and white? Like, how does it work? Do you?
Yeah, good question. I just find first earlies they ripen, so they mature really quickly. So
Okay.
you can pick them earlier. So unlike a main crop that just need to be in the ground a little bit longer, and then they need a longer growing period. Whereas
Okay.
with the earlies, they will be ready. So you'll see it where their foliage dies back really quickly.
Mm.
So I plant mine in rows, and I'll see that the foliage of my first earlies always dies back really quickly because it's just ready to harvest.
Oh
So they're
wow.
early, and then you can have sometimes people call the other varieties, so they call them first early, second earlies, and then main crop. But I find
Okay.
second earlies really is just a main crop. You might as well just leave them to sort of sort of mature as a main crop. But yeah. So you'll have. I think Charlotte is a second early, so it can actually be it can ripen quickly, it can mature really quickly.
Because we
Okay.
bought some purple potatoes from the supermarket and then
Ah,
decided to chit them and grow them.
mhm.
And so I never really knew when we were meant to harvest them.
Right,
No.
right.
So it was a lot of guesswork, but we got a fairly healthy harvest, didn't we, from that
Very
lot,
good
sweet pea.
harvest.
And then
No,
since
good.
then, I've obviously missed a few, so we get the odd potatoes coming up each year.
Yeah,
And
randomly in the charred bed.
but that is something I should look into more, as when you are meant to harvest each type.
Mm.
The purple ones, I've no
Yes.
idea.
No.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're lovely, aren't they? The purple ones are really dark as well. So
Really
you
Hard to
dark.
must find it
find.
hard to spot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very hard to spot.
exactly. You're
And also
digging.
hard to know when they've turned green. But
Oh
we just eat
yeah.
them all anyway. Hope for the
Yeah,
best.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what would be your fourth edible?
Um, I like the a squash. I like with squash. Well, I say squash. I'll say a pumpkin. So squashes and pumpkins. Um, I find that it's that excitement as well. My son likes them during Halloween. He gets really excited about the
Yeah.
pumpkins, and I find that I mean, last year we only had one really large giant pumpkin that was
Okay.
ready. Yeah. This year I've done a little bit more. I've done a couple of other varieties, and I just find that they're just really exciting to grow
They're fun,
and
Mm.
aren't
fun,
they? They
great
are
fun.
fun and
Yeah.
tasty. You can get some good
Yep.
recipes out of a pumpkin. Do you have
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
recipes you go for?
We tried last year a dessert, which is a dessert called, well, we call it a halva, which is like I think that well, a lot of Asian people do it. Turkish people also do it as well. It's like it's like a sweet sponge dessert that you can make using pumpkin,
All right.
and or a nice squash. But but I find that they're absolutely amazing. Like honestly, amazing. They just like it's nice and sweet, and yeah, great. So we'll probably be doing that again as well.
Oh, sounds good. We need to get that recipe as well.
And also the trailed the vine in itself looks really pretty. Do you grow that up or
Yes.
do you grow that horizontally?
Yeah, just on the ground. Yeah, just let it
Mm.
take over, which is quite nice, really, because to be honest, sometimes, especially towards the end of the year when you're getting a little bit tired and you're not catching up on the weeding and everything, it's nice because it just covers everything.
Some nice ground cover. Yeah,
Yeah, oh
exactly.
completely.
So
Completely
Again,
great.
a
yeah,
low maintenance approach. Some
yeah,
people, of course, grow them on their compost heaps, don't they?
yeah.
Yes, they do.
Which
They do
also
so
seems a good
well.
idea.
Yeah, they do grow so well. And I did do I once did a Turk's turban
Oh,
I did it.
yes.
I did an archway with it, like a small dwarf. What I did was I dwarfed
Lovely.
an
Oh,
arch, and
Yeah.
I let the squash just grow over it, and it did really well. So that's a squash that seems to like to climb. Yeah,
We're
okay.
going for upwards for most of our veg this year, aren't we? And we've built some
Mm.
structures for
right.
all our butternuts and pumpkins to go up.
Yeah, and they're
Yes,
really happy. They're just climbing up and
Yeah,
up and up.
they do seem
brilliant.
happy.
It's almost
Yeah,
like a forest of
it
pumpkins.
is. We've had
It's
to actually buy
crazy.
some more supports to get higher because they're going so high.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah.
Okay, so we've got pumpkins, and then finally, what is your last plant?
My last plant would have to be it's an allium, the leeks.
Mm.
I love leeks, and I just find it's just a good all rounder as well. And again, a little bit like with the seasons, I like to cook with the seasons as well. Like, in the spring we'll have the rhubarb crumble and custard, my
Yeah.
favorite. and
Yummy.
then and then later on in the season, I really always look forward to the leek and potato soup. Honestly,
Oh,
it's one of my favorites.
delicious.
Ooh,
Yeah,
So warming.
that's
yeah,
so nice by a fire, all cozy in your little mug,
yeah,
Yeah.
sipping it. I love
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
yes,
perfection. Leeks
yes.
is such a versatile veg as well. You can use them for everything, can't you?
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. And they seem to, because they don't bolt very easily like the other alliums, like onions. You can just leave them in the ground and then just pick them as and when you want. The Musselburgh leeks always do really well. Always seem
Oh, okay.
to do really well for me. Anyway, it's one of the varieties that I find always really put on a good size. And yeah,
And
they're
it's nice
really,
also to let them bolt and let them flower, isn't it? Or keep them in the ground. And
yes.
Amazing heads.
again, good for the birds.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the bees love the because it almost has like a nice ornamental, almost round allium type flower, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the bees love that
Yes.
purple or the white flower
Yeah.
that they sometimes get, and they're all over it. So yeah, the pollinators are over it, and yeah, it's lovely.
And we actually saw that in one of the Gardener's World. There was that guy up in, I'm not going to remember again. It's getting
No.
late, so I don't remember his name. But he left his leeks in the ground. I think it was leeks, wasn't it? And then he shook. He
Yes.
described the seed heads as maracas, and then he gave it a shake, and it was beautiful. It just rattled with all the
It's
seeds in
proper
it.
pom
Oh
It
pom.
was
wow,
a big old pom pom,
yeah, yeah,
gorgeous, and he left those sort of sporadically
yeah,
through his veggie
yeah.
patch.
That is brilliant. Yeah, because like the onion seeds, like when we grow onions, I always find that from sets, especially the red, always just bolt. But those little black seeds, like when you sow onions from seed, and then I know it takes a long growing period, but
It
I find now
does.
mine, I did all my red didn't come up this year, but my Alsa Craig that I grew from seed did really well, and they're just about ready to start harvesting now, and they're quite nice big onions.
And when did you put the seeds in the ground?
I
Mm.
put them so I sowed them in trays initially in it was just after Christmas, probably actually the Elsa Craig I did in the first week of January, and they were just tiny, and then they were in the seed trays, and I did slightly, to be honest, neglect them in the seed trays, and they were looking like they were really desperate to go out. And
Oh.
I did put that in one of my YouTube videos. I actually said revealed it, and then I said, "Please don't judge me."
Yeah. I
Oh,
get
And then I
that.
popped them all, and then I popped transplanted them all into the ground in literally when I just started this garden, which would have been in was it in around March, and they're almost they're
oh,
quite,
okay.
quite big now. So
Oh, wow,
yeah,
that was
I'll
impressive.
show an update in my next video, but they are nice and quite a decent. Like some
Yeah.
of them are ready to harvest. I'm still leaving them because they haven't quite because they usually the foliage sort of flops over, and then I know they're
Yeah.
ready, and they've not done that just yet. So I think they're still growing.
But you just held up your hands. Would you say you were describing the size of a small apple?
Yeah, they're about so far they're about tennis ball size. Some of them.
Amazing.
Yeah, some
Gosh,
of
That's
them
that's
are. Yeah,
amazing.
fantastic.
yeah, tennis ball
We've
size.
Oh,
always had problems with our.
we haven't done well with onions.
No.
Not from seed.
Yeah. I find for me, yeah, it's a longer period,
Mm.
but they seem to they seem to stay in the ground longer and bolt later than the ones that you sow in sets. That
Probably
seems
more
to happen for me.
stress. More
Yeah,
stress
yeah,
because they've had less root space.
yeah. Something might just sort of trigger that,
Oh,
but it's
that's very
difficult, isn't it?
interesting.
Because yeah, it could be anything that sometimes trigger them. But you're right; it could be stress or the environment or the weather. It's
Mm.
just yeah, it's always a little bit of a gamble.
So now we are on to your one tree. So it's your statement tree in your garden.
Yeah, I would say my favorite tree is the liquid amber
Oh,
for its beautiful autumn color that seems to just be a mixture of different colors, because it seems to just have these really dark leaves, and then it's got these star-shaped leaves like an acer, because I think it might
yes.
be part of the acer family or something, but it has those sort of star-shaped leaves that are just a multicolors, and I think as a central tree that would just look the
Stunning.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
right in the centre of your garden.
Yeah.
And yes, it is. Liquid amber describes it very well, doesn't it? They're just stunning,
completely.
the different colours you get in autumn with those leaves. Really
Yeah.
beautiful.
And you
Great
could
tree.
also, you could have the tulips around the base of the tree, like a little border
Yeah.
almost. That
Oh,
could
I
look
would.
pretty.
Yeah, yeah, I would love that. Yeah, definitely, definitely. The little, the sort of yeah, and it's nice to use that underplant trees with sort of, so you get that
Yeah.
again interest, and it's nice sometimes. I do find that just to sit under a tree and just take in the rest of the environment as well,
Yeah.
and it is
I
lovely. And
love
to
it.
have some flowers just there next to you that you can see and then have a closer look at, because I do like doing that when I do my YouTube videos. I like sort of observing things from really close up and just
Yes.
seeing what the pollinators are up to and how they're sort of yeah, just
How they're
pollinating the
functioning.
flowers.
I
And
love that with your videos. Your videos really are mesmerizing. Like there's
Mhm.
just a very calm feel to them all, and you know, if you've had a hard day at work and then you
Mhm.
watch one of your videos, it just brings you right back, and it
It's
gives exactly that
mm,
feeling that we get from going into the
Yeah.
garden. We were having quite a tricky day the other day, and we said, come on, let's just go out, walk around the garden. We went and
Mhm.
looked in the pond for a bit, and it
yeah.
just brings the stress levels right down, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And your videos
Absolutely.
emulate that. You know,
Yeah.
if someone is absent off a garden or gardening space, then
Mhm.
watching your videos is a pretty good second best.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It is that, really. I do find that with my day job, and things can be quite stressful, because sometimes I'm talking to people about, they've either going through stress with with going through like a divorce or a horrible
Very
child custody
stressful.
case, or their, yeah, absolutely, or their employment, and they might be
Oh,
losing their job. And so I sometimes feel that when I've finished at the end of the day, I just want to be taken somewhere. I call it my green space. I like to go into my green space and just offload.
I
Yes.
completely
and
get it.
and then I spot these things like the plants around me and things, and I just like to think, and I like to video it and capture it for myself as well, because I like looking back and seeing what
Mm,
wildlife I've caught, but also sharing it with, like you said, other people, because like-minded gardeners, we all just sort of gravitate towards that seeing that, and we relate to it, and it's lovely. I mean, the amount of times that I've sat there photographing like one of my, like, it was a butterfly, and I was filming this peacock butterfly, and it flew off and it went round in a circle and came back and it landed on my hand,
Oh,
and I just thought,
oh.
oh, if only I could have filmed you, but I can't, because now I'm holding the camera and it's
you're
the
on
other
my
way
hand,
around.
and
But
you
honestly,
you
the little
are a Disney
surprises.
princess, Amir. You absolutely are.
But the little surprises that you get, honestly, the little sort of, those
Yeah.
little things, those little moments, which are, it's not always on camera, it's
No,
sometimes
Yes.
off
and
camera.
very
Yeah.
often it's off camera, because by the
Yeah.
time you fumbled around pressing the right
Oh
buttons and
yes.
turning it
Oh
back, they've
yes. Yeah.
gone. We
Yeah.
find that all the time, but it is
Yes.
such a joy. Like you say, getting up close to the plants and being
Mhm.
calm for a moment, and the stuff that comes in, and the
Mhm.
things you wouldn't have seen if you were just rushing past.
That's it.
We
Yeah.
get such joy from all
Mhm.
the insect life,
Mhm.
really, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
just mooch. Like I
Mooching.
found that
You're a
some
moocher.
people some people have said to me, "Oh gosh, you're going beyond your years." But I like to literally my arms behind my
Yeah.
back, crossed, and I am literally mooching along, looking at my tomato plants, going, "You're looking good. Well done.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
well done."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's so calming. You can have
Yeah.
a stressful day at school or a
Yeah.
stressful day at work, and
I
it's
look, I
just
look back
amazing.
at honestly, I think you're quite lucky, especially when you're actually getting to experience this so young as well. Is
Mm,
that because you've just got more time to enjoy it,
yeah,
which is great,
It's so true,
And
Amir.
very
with
lucky.
me, like when I spotted my first orange tip butterfly of the season, you have no idea how overexcited I was, and I was chasing it around the allotment with my
Testing
camera,
was like, oh my
literally
gosh.
stumbling over. Honestly, the amount of times I stumbled and I fell over my own allotment pot,
It's so
and
relatable.
I landed in a ditch, and I was literally just getting up and just trying. And this orange tip was probably thinking, "Leave me alone," you know.
Yeah, just like, oh my
Enough
god, why is he
already.
chasing me?
Yes,
What's going on?
yes.
It's so
But,
relatable though. And again, I talk about that sort of January, February time where you're just wanting stuff to happen. And we have dandelions. We're very fortunate to have a lot of dandelions in our lawn. And that is where all these butterflies started to come very early in the season to land on our dandelions. And Sweet Pea would do exactly the same. She'd go stumbling off across the garden, chasing these poor butterflies.
Exactly. The poor things are just like, why is there a teenager charging at me?
yeah, it's brilliant. But honestly, yeah, it's amazing that then you start learning about all the different types of butterflies and the fauna,
Exactly.
and it's just honestly, it is brilliant. And sometimes I'm listening to your podcasts, and the knowledge that you both have in terms of flowers and talking, and I'm thinking, how do you remember all these names? Like, you
Yeah,
know, just
it's
amazing.
Sweet Pea. It's
It's
having a
mad.
teenage brain that absorbs stuff. When you get to my
Yes.
age, it doesn't. It goes in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
She is amazing, aren't you, Sweet Pea? You're pretty
Which is-
crazy.
I do have a good hour or so of research time.
Yeah,
which is
we
great.
research it
Honestly,
all.
credit to you because it is great because it makes it easier for me because I know, oh right, okay, I could just take note. I'm just going to write that down now. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
it's exactly what I wanted it to somehow say the names, so that
Yeah.
some are really hard. They're
Yeah.
really hard, the Latin
Yeah.
crazy names.
Yes.
Would you like a pond or a pool?
Oh, it would have to be a nature pond. A
It's going
nature
to be your
pond.
nature pond
Yeah, that's it.
with all your froggies.
Yeah, with all the friends, the frogs that I can sit and talk to all day and ask them how their day's been as well, and then and the newts, the
And
little
the
newts,
newts.
and the little and then all the when you see like a dragonfly that would literally just
Yes,
suddenly appear, honestly,
amazing.
just so much interest.
We had
Dragonflies are the
a
best.
broad-bodied one of those blue dragonflies come to
Wow.
our pond very, very soon after we built it, and
And that I chased around the garden actually.
that she chased around the garden and got a fantastic shot. We put that on Instagram, but I swear that this dragonfly was being territorial with me or welcoming me to his pond because he would fly around and then come and sort of hover, staring me, eyeballing me, and then fly off again, come
Wow.
round, and it's quite sort of made you stop in your tracks to have this dragonfly just coming right into your face. But we haven't seen him for a while. We've had some damselflies come in. That's been nice. Some red
Lovely.
ones
That
and
was
some
sweet.
green ones as well.
Yeah, I remember as a child in school. I mean, my son now in school, like he'll have one day a week they'll have like forest school, so they get
Brilliant.
so they
I remember that.
yeah, so they go off and explore like a little area where there's a pond and trees and things, and but we had a little bit of that at school. I remember going to sort of a river and literally dipping in the nets and having a look
Yes.
at all the water boatmen and all the different
Yeah, the
species.
pond skaters.
That's it, everything that's under the water as well, which is brilliant.
It's joyful, isn't it? How old's your son?
He's 10 years old. Yeah.
Oh,
So initially he would always be with me on the allotment and he really, really enjoyed it. At the moment now he's really into football, so he's going through a different phase. But I'm sure he'll be like me. He reminds me of me because I was a little bit like that when my dad had an allotment growing up. I wasn't really that much into it. And then you sort of come full circle and then
but also I think he's probably been shouldered out by Bob.
yeah, probably. Oh yeah, he gets very.
Amir's
He does.
mine.
Yeah, he did actually get really frustrated with Bob. I remember once there's actually a couple of videos where I'll spot him in the distance because he was like, "Oh, Dad, Bob is not coming on my hand," so he's trying to feed Bob, and he would come really, really close to him and then say, "No, I'm not going to land on you."
Oh,
And he was
Bob.
getting he was getting frustrated.
Teasing your son.
That's sad.
Yeah.
And what plant would you like with your nature pond?
Oh, a lovely lily for the frogs. Yeah, to a lily pad,
Perfect.
a nice lily pad for them to sit on and feel safe. It's just lovely, and there's something really magical about the lilies when they flower.
Ours is actually, we've just had one that's opened up.
Except I haven't seen it yet.
Except Sweet Pea hasn't seen it because it
happens later in the day when Sweet Pea's not there.
Yeah, I get up early in the mornings and then I rush out. I rushed out yesterday because Mum showed me a photo of it in midday whilst I was doing some homework. And she
Yes.
showed me the photo and I was like, oh, brilliant, I'll go see it tomorrow when I've walked the dog. So I went and charged out early morning and it was shut again. I was so disappointed.
You'll see it
That's
tomorrow. It's
amazing.
the weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Exciting. But it is, yeah, so magical. It's lovely. Yeah, so
Oh,
I'd
they're
love that.
pretty. Sorry, what colour would you like your lily to be?
Yeah, I like the ones that are, yeah, so the white, but just with the slight sort of pink tinge to them, like a sort of
lovely.
is it a pale pink, like
That'd
sort
be
of,
pretty.
Oh, the
yeah,
pink
yeah. I know
ones.
they come in so many shades. You get the yellows and the really
Yes,
dark
yes.
ones, but I like the ones, yeah, that are just very pale. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. That would look lovely. Okay, we now come to our final question. What is going to be your favourite seating area and your drink and your plant to go with your seating area? There are three
Oh,
things.
yes. So I would love a nice bench, a bench next to my potting shed, and it would be somewhere where I can sit down with a nice cup of coffee
Ooh.
and just enjoy what's around me. And we could probably have a nice plant. What I would also like is that a plant that's a little bit like something that would screen maybe that area, screen me off a little bit so that the wildlife, because I'd like to just sit there and see the birds. And sometimes if the birds can't see me in an angle, so I'd like maybe a nice bamboo in a pot
Oh,
or
that
something.
sounds a great idea.
That would look lovely.
Yeah.
I'm also interested to know what sort of coffee you were going to have.
Oh, a nice. Do you know? I like my coffee quite strong, but I do like an Arabic coffee with cardamom. Like
That's very
Oh,
just
specific.
has a sort of
that's
a
very specific but very nice.
cardamom in a coffee. Honestly, they just have that just a really nice flavor.
Which you can get from the kettle, which is in your
That's it. Yeah,
potting shed.
Good
See?
thinking on the
Yeah.
kettle front, Sweet Pea.
Brilliant.
It's all working out.
Yes.
And what colour would you like your bench as well?
Oh, to contrast maybe a little bit with the grey shed, maybe like a sage green or something like that.
Oh, sage green's lovely.
Yeah.
It's
That
almost
would be
slightly
lovely.
Cotswoldy as well.
Yeah,
It's
that's it.
amazing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that sort of vibes. Yes.
Oh, brilliant.
This
I
sounds
love
like a
this.
beautiful garden.
Yes, so I will read through your garden. So first of all, as your garden boundary, we have your beautiful woodland of oaks and copper beeches, with then, as it gradually comes towards the kind of house areas and more into the garden, we have kind of native shrubs, and then kind of grasses with poppies and cornflowers in there. And also you want it kind of open to the woods so that you can kind of go into the woods whenever and however. Then you're having a potting shed with electricity for your kettle specifically, so you can pot up everything in the winter. Then your plants are going to be, for your ornamentals, the banana red tiger, then your Durban canna, also tulip Lady Jane, New Zealand flax, specifically the black one, and the white cyclamen as well. And those can also start going into your woodland and carpet the area. And then as your edibles, we have cranberries, tomatoes, potatoes, leeks, and pumpkins.
Oh, do you know, it sounds amazing already.
Yeah. And then your one tree, we have your liquid amber, you're going to have a nature pond with a pale pink lily, and your gorgeous seating area with your bench surrounded by bamboos and your Arabic coffee.
With cardamom.
With cardamom.
With
Sorry,
cardamom.
with cardamom. Nope, can't remember the cardamom.
Does that sound about right?
That sounds like a dream, honestly. It's
Sounds
like
Oh, there we go.
yeah. Like I said to you, this is now like I can just see this now. My small holding garden, like
Oh, your
Oh.
small holding dream sounds like a
Yes.
lovely dream. How early are you
Yeah.
planning to retire?
Oh, the sooner the better.
The sooner the better. I hear you, Amir.
I wish, but that would be lovely, honestly. It sounds amazing.
Great.
Thank you so much for your time, Amir. That's been a good old chit chat with Amir.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much for having me.